Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, pour yourself a mug of milk, Cuphead's coming to Switch. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Mike DeLaney. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, but specifically last week's Nintendo Direct, and then it's the Nindie Direct. And then on Thursday, Mark and I are going to be discussing Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest for the end of our weird retro sequels month. So before we get into it and I reveal what's actually going on, Delaney is not in the room with me right now. We recorded an episode about this earlier in the weekend. I was in Chicago, so I don't be forewarned. What you are about to hear is not our normal Retcon Punch sound quality. It's a little bit of in the field, don't have all the equipment with me kind of sound quality. So it's got a little bit more background noise and it's got a little bit grainier than usual. But we have a really good conversation about that in Nindie Direct. We go through all the games, have maybe some novel observations about it. I don't know. But the point is, for right now, it's just me. You got just Patrick. Mark is going to be, like I say, he's on the Thursday episode where we're talking about Castlevania 2. You should absolutely be listening to all these episodes because it's been a ton of fun to play through all these weird old games with Mark. And then he'll be back to do news with me next week. If you can believe it, it's already, our Markless March is almost over. So yes, all the usual stuff still applies. If you would like to borrow my copy of Sonic Forces, look, you still can. It should be coming back to me any day now. And if you want to borrow it, all you got to do is send me your mailing address. Send it to Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. And your name goes on a list. The list is getting a little bit lengthy at this point, but you know, that shouldn't stop you from putting your name on the list. Get your name on this list. You can borrow my copy of Sonic Forces. Play it on your Switch. It's all good news. All right, let's get into what we've been playing this week. I will, of course, keep this brief because when I say what we've been playing this week, I, of course, just mean what I've been playing this week because I'm the only person in the room. As I say, traveled to Chicago this weekend, and so I just brought my 3DS with me. Mark was also out of town recently and only brought his 3DS with him, I believe, which might mean that maybe we're starting to think of our 3DSs and Switches as like, you know, one of these is like the real rough and tumble travel thing and the other is still sort of a precious baby. I don't know. I played WarioWare Gold a bunch on the way out to Chicago. It was great. Man, what a wonderful game that is. You can keep challenging yourself with that game and keep unlocking new things. The number of unlockables and unlockable games and like unlockable alarm clocks and stuff in that thing there's so much in WarioWare Gold. It's a perfect little portable package. It should or something like it anyway, should totally be on the Switch. And then on the way back here to Los Angeles, I played Super Mario 3D Land, which is another amazing game. But I think Mark was talking about that he was going to play it. So I'm sure that we will be touching more on that in the future. I just wanted to point out that I had 2 separate save files on my copy of Super Mario 3D Land that were like maxed out 100% with like all of the stars. And so I just started a new one. And so I'm just building a third gonna be perfect game in there, which, you know, that's not something I do with a lot of games, but I guess it's something I'm doing with Super Mario 3D Land. Do I really love this game? Look, guys, I don't know. Okay, that's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week. And again, there's a bunch of games here, but like I'm obviously not going to talk about all of them. The only thing I wanted to bring to everyone's attention is that Friday, March 29th, Yoshi's Crafted World finally comes out on the Switch. This is one that I have talked about before that I'm excited about. I remain excited. My buddy Taylor is going to be in town this week. I'm going to pick it up. We're going to play it 2-player simultaneous. It's going to be beautiful and adorable, and we're going to have a great time. Or maybe we won't, and I'll talk about it next week about how I wasn't really having a great time. Okay, obviously no 433 here. I'm just going to get us right into my conversation with Michael DeLaney about the Nintendo Nindie Direct from last week. Enjoy. I am joined today by my good friend and a writer with me on Retcon Punch, Michael DeLaney.
Hello.
Michael, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing so well.
Yes.
Yes.
We've been, here's the thing that's true. We've been hanging out.
Everything else has been a lie up to this point.
Right. You are not Mike DeLaney at all. You're someone else. We've been hanging out most of this weekend at C2E2, the Chicago Comics and Entertainment Expo.
Yes.
So I think we're both maybe getting a little bit punchy, a little loopy.
A little bit.
But you've generously, thank you.
You're welcome. I haven't done it yet. I haven't done anything yet.
You said that you would.
Yes.
So.
It could be terrible.
Well, that's fine. The show's been terrible before. It'll be terrible again. We are going to talk all about the Nintendo Indie Direct from last week and break down all of the announcements because there's a lot of them. And
you're going to have to remind me of the names.
No, here's the thing. I took copious notes on this and they're my notes.
Okay, well then I'll make up names for the game.
But before we launch into it in specific, was there anything in here that jumped out at you, Mike, as something that you...
I think I have just a general observation.
Yeah, let's hear the general observation.
There was a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff or near the end of the world. At least 4 post-apocalypse and then the one game Neo Cab.
Yeah.
So that's basically towards the end of the world because they said that she's the last
human driver,
right,
in a city overrun by automation.
Which
it's grim. It's grim stuff.
and from what I surmised, the basis of that game is trying to keep your cool and keep your job.
Yeah, so let's talk about NeoCat then, as long as we're there. So it looks like it's a story-based kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Where you're driving a car and you got to pick up fares, but you're also looking for your friend,
right? While
avoiding some big evil corporation. Do you remember the name of the? They mentioned
Capra.
It might be Capra.
Something like that.
Do you think it's that TV show Caprica that you have to avoid?
Yeah, it's a stealth, resurgence.
That's right. They're gonna bring back Battlestar somehow.
Yeah, it had the animation style similar to a Telltale game. Or something or Archer.
Yeah, it did look pretty archery, right?
A couple of games had those thick lines that I was talking about in another conversation with the thick comic booky lines that Spider-Verse has.
Right. That's from a previous conversation. Again, we've been talking about comics all weekend, so that's sort of where our brains are right now. But I feel to your observation about a lot of post-apocalyptic and nearing the apocalypse settings.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we just see in games and comics a lot.
Yes.
I don't know why that is.
My thought for this especially is that because it's indie games and they're mostly one-player games, so you have to be the last of something. Maybe you don't have to, but it's a good excuse.
It's a good framing device to not populate every town with a bunch of people.
Right, yeah. And at one point in one game, they said you are the one.
Yeah.
So, the chosen one.
Oh, you are referring, of course, to Rad.
Right.
I'm afraid if we jump around
we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it.
All right, let's go back to the top.
No more apocalypse. NeoCab.
So back. We'll go back to the top of the order.
All right.
The thing starts off with a man teaching us how to pour milk.
That's true. That wasn't a game, though.
That was not a game. But it was a teaser for Cuphead.
Is Cuphead, is that a thing?
Yeah, so Cuphead is a game that was developed by a studio specifically for Xbox. Microsoft spent a lot of money to like finance the thing, and it came out as an Xbox exclusive a couple of years ago. But like exclusive no more, it's coming to Switch.
Okay.
So I think the like crazy and notable thing there is that this game, which looks like a 1930s cartoon,
right,
is no longer a Microsoft exclusive thing. It's coming over to Switch.
Is that the one that they were saying our friends at Microsoft?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like I wasn't sure. They use that style of animation, like intentionally, obviously, to like kind of play on your. Not nostalgia, but you've seen it before.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, was Cuphead a thing? like, was that a show? Was that a regular strip? I don't know.
I mean, it's possible. Again, we've been seeing comics all weekend, and we kept like stumbling through things, and we're like, hey, do you know what that is actually? And we're like, no.
It's steampunk.
Yeah. Heavy Metal, right? We were walking past the publication Heavy Metal, and I was like, I don't actually know what that magazine is, and so had the guy give me the spiel on it for a little bit. But yeah, so Cuphead coming out April 18th, which is super soon. It's like a month.
Yeah, it is.
I played a little bit of Cuphead at a friend's, and I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It's super tough, like a run and gun, platforming, difficult thing.
Are you a cup of milk?
You're a cup. I don't know if you are of milk.
That was a weird segue then. I thought that was why they did the milk.
I mean, I don't know. Milk will make people squirm, right? Like anytime you talk too much about it, it's like made uncomfortable by it.
Oh.
But so Cuphead coming out, that's a big deal. The next game they showed off is called Overland, which they describe as a squad-focused turn-based strategy game. It is it's a post-apocalyptic thing.
Right.
This is the one where they say, you can do this, or you can do this, or you can save the dog.
It sounded like a couple of these games sounded like RPG, which typically isn't my bag, but, it sounded like this was, like, not too involved.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a very, choice-based.
Yeah. This is one of two games that they talked about today where it seems like a dog can die.
Yes. And they did not throw up a disclaimer.
No. Look, there are websites for Does the Dog Die? That's an important service. Are you familiar with there's a Twitter handle, Can You Pet the Dog? It's just everything they tweet is just an image from a video game, and they're like, Red Dead Redemption 2, can you pet the dog? Yes. You can pet the dog.
I know the answer to that. Sorry.
Super Mario Odyssey, can you pet the dog? No, you cannot pet the dog.
Is there a dog?
Yeah, there's a dog that...
Okay, I thought that's just, no, you can't pet the dog because there's no dog.
No, it's not going at it that conceptually.
Okay, great.
But yeah, some of these games, I don't want to...
Watch that dog die?
I don't want to watch that dog die. Call me old-fashioned.
My least favorite game show.
Watch that dog die! Yeah, Overland also seems like it's on a grid, right?
It's on a grid, and it seems like you were blocky, kind of skinny characters.
Yeah.
I don't know what to compare it to, but there's something similar to it. Maybe Minecraft? Is that kind of looks...
I mean, like, in terms of looks, I'm not even really sure. It's got, like, that isometric view, that, like, 3/4 perspective.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That seems like it's going to be too stressful of a game for me, so I'm probably going to pass on that. Your Friend Pedro.
That one looks pretty cool.
So this is a game where it's like an action game where you keep like popping into slow motion. Maybe there's a sentient banana.
Not maybe.
No, okay, there is.
There is. That is the friend Pedro.
Your friend Pedro is a banana.
He is the banana. And like,
does the banana give you these powers? How are you able to...
I mean, I think he's guiding you in some sense. Well, like, I really was disappointed when he lost the skillet. I thought he was going to be a guy that just carried a skillet and hit people the whole time.
So that's how it started? He's, like, running around with...
He like, because it's a game where they're doing, like, choreography or whatever, and everything is usable to like bounce off of something. So he had a skillet. That was the first thing he used to hit someone. I was like, awesome, I'm on board, skillet guy.
But then he picked up like guns.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it reminded me. I mean, because right now I'm playing Red Dead Redemption. It reminded me of like what the mode where you slow down time, basically Deadeye. So it's kind of like that. I think the whole game isn't like that, but you like.
It seemed like they spent a lot of time
doing that.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like I just assumed that it's gonna be like Tony Hawk, where like you get points for all
like
the different combos.
Points, yeah.
I mean, the game's very heavily into that, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and it looked like stylish and cool.
They like referred to it ballet choreography. They were very, choosy with their words, but. As we said during we're watching it, these weren't the most eloquent people.
No, this is true. We've been seeing, obviously, again. This I'm going to keep saying it. We're at C2E2 this weekend.
You just listening.
Yeah. So we saw, we've seen a bunch of panels and presentations and stuff, and it's crazy to me that still like no one really knows how to do these things without looking like a dork.
No public speaking experience, it seems.
Even when they have it,
yeah,
it's always a little bit awkward. We were at a Marvel panel on Saturday where CB Cebulski, who is Marvel's editor-in-chief right now, came out and was like, he was kind of like running around the stage like he's Dane Cook, and like just kind of like no table, just like right there, energy directing, connecting with everyone, which was cool until like they played a video that's like joking around about pizza and stuff, and it's just like, guys, just like do the thing.
You lost the energy.
Yeah, stop.
There are a lot of people who are embarrassed about what they're about to do.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of apologizing for what you're about to do.
Not necessarily they did that in this video, but they were not the people to pitch the game. A couple of times the developers were like trying to, for Rad, I think they were trying to like make some kind of pun or wordplay, and it was just not comfortable.
No, it happened twice, right? Because there's Kirk Scott, who's the new like lead of Nintendo, like independent game relations. Glasses Man. Mm-hmm. And some woman whose name I don't know.
White hair.
White hair. That's right. That was her name. Jane Whitehair. It's not her name. But like they set up this joke that it was like a pun on the word rad, and they were like, no, let's let the developers do the joke.
Oh, that's right.
And then the developers did the joke, but the joke was just to be like a game that's rad, and then we learn that the name of the game is rad. So we don't have they tease two punchlines. They tease a punchline, they do the punchline, and then we get the setup. It's just all out of order. It's not how jokes work.
And much like us right now, we're skipping ahead to Rad. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything to say about
your friend Pedro?
Yeah, great name for the game too.
No, it's very good. No, it looks neat. It comes out in June.
Looks like Deadpool for some reason.
It does look like Deadpool. Yeah, they should get that Deadpool license. Marvel, call him up.
I saw Rob Liefeld this weekend. I saw his table.
Oh, well. Next up in the order was Neocab, which we've talked about a little bit already.
It just kind of depressed me. Like, or I mean, not just like you're the last cab driver, but like she's spending. When you get in an Uber, and like I don't generally ask how they like it. We'll get into that conversation somehow, and they're like, I get to choose my own hours. So in Neocab, is she on the clock searching for her missing friend?
Yeah, I don't know. And do you think a lot of people are like, so you doing this just to reconnect with someone?
And like, it's there are some video games where it's like Second Life, like on The Office, where you're just doing what you would do in real life.
Yeah, that is grim. That is grim. I think it would be tough if you were working for a rideshare program and then also going home and playing this game.
Well, like I said, this reminds me of, you're talking about Captain Marvel, in the beginning of that movie, they're talking about you have to keep your emotions out of it. Like, this just makes this game seem that you have to be an uninteresting character. Like, don't be too happy, don't be too sad,
don't be
either.
too angry. But I like that it's tracking what it believes your emotional state to be,
right.
or like what your character's emotional state. That leads for like, or makes for some like interesting storytelling options. If like, oh, you're getting angry because of choices you're making or because of things that are happening, like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to the rest of the quadrants of the graph of emotions.
Yeah.
But the top right was arousal. I did see that.
Yeah, boy. Next up was the Red Lantern, which is a game that they
false advertisement.
Yeah, well, first of all, again, we're huge comic book dorks.
We were at C2E2 this weekend.
Thank you for explaining. So, when we see the Red Lantern, we expect to see Atrocitus, we expect to see Guy Gardner for a time, we expect to see Dexstar all wielding red rings.
We didn't even see a Red Lantern in this as far as... It probably was hanging on a sled, but...
It was probably hanging on a sled.
It was not highlighted.
So, rather than actually being related to a Red Lantern, this game is about a woman who, abandons her life that she feels...
What a weird way to start it.
Yeah,
It's a game about dog sledding and surviving.
Yes, but it is they spend a lot of time setting up who the character is.
And how disappointed she is with herself.
So disappointed with herself, with her life. Her parents are disappointed in her. So she's like, I'm going to light my world on fire. I'm going to go and race in the Iditarod. This is the second time that we see a dog in danger. A dog gets attacked by a bear.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems cool.
Yeah.
The game looks really pretty, and I don't know, if this is one where I will put up with whatever stress because it looks like the presentation is nice.
Yeah. I mean, to the point of her wanting to do the Iditarod, she said she just wanted to finish, but right. Her little checklist had a first place trophy on it. That's more than finishing.
Yeah, that is finishing best.
Dog sleds are weird.
Go on.
I was just thinking about it. Somebody someday in history just looked at a husky and was like, "Yes, but what if also a horse?"
Yes, but what if I tied 5 of these together?
Can it do more?
Look, I don't like walking through the snow.
So
yeah,
there's that.
But it seems...
Where'd she get these dogs, too? This is a startup, basically. She
yeah,
found a van and she found huskies.
That's right. Get van, get huskies, get sled.
Yeah.
Win race. I don't know, but it seems cool. It's something that I'll be interested
I hope we see a plucky montage of her getting those things, because that's not the game. Of her, getting all these things and then...
What if it is the game? We don't know.
Maybe there was a dog that looked like was missing on the sled. Maybe she just hadn't collected that dog yet.
No, I think the dog that was missing was the dog that got attacked by a bear.
That's true. She didn't reposition the other dogs. That's just poor planning.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you gotta have one dog in the front that's taking all the... I don't know anything about dog racing. I'll stop.
Yeah, she doesn't either. That's why she's not getting first place.
True. Next up was Darkwood, which they describe as a procedurally generated survival horror game. It is a top-down perspective.
Yeah. Is this the one that was anything can happen? Was it it was kind of saying it was open world and kind of your choices. I live by a fire department.
Right, so apologies for those sirens. If you're driving around, those sirens are in our world and not in yours. And also several days before now, so you're okay.
So yeah, I thought they were this was another kind of RPG where they were saying, if this is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it was a dude in a hat.
Oh no,
and it's dark.
I'm not thinking of that.
You're thinking of something else. I don't. This one looked pretty vanilla to me.
Yeah, maybe that's why I just didn't remember. I know I'm not thinking about the right one.
Yeah, let's move on from it then. The next up was Katana Zero, which seems like you're playing as a Black Widow character.
Right.
It's an 8-bit side-scrolling action game where everything is a one-hit kill. The enemies kill you in one hit, you kill the enemies in one hit, and you have precognitive abilities, they were saying, to I don't know, go forward in time and try stuff. And then
yeah, okay.
Yeah, you remembering this one now?
Yes, that was the thing that threw me off. I'm what do you mean? I guess I didn't hear the one hit thing. So
Yeah.
it's basically learning from your mistakes and doing it again and not dying. Like
all
Tom
video
Cruise.
games.
Well, specifically like Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Live, die, repeat.
That's right. All you need is kill.
Oh, I was just gonna throw that fun fact out.
It's such a good title. All you need is kill. But Katana Zero, it starts off like showing you what is like a very video gamey premise, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, and between missions, go talk to your therapist.
Oh yeah.
Which adds a whole other level of weird.
Right. Until you threw those two parts in, I was drawing a blank. But those are two added elements that would probably be something in there, like a separate game for each thing.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, you could talk to your therapist about your secret missions.
And, like, make sure you get an update on your medicine or something like that. And then the therapist injects her with something. Which is what makes me think that it's like a Black Widow situation where, like, someone is being brainwashed and turned into a super soldier or something.
I mean, gotta refill your prescriptions.
I mean, this is also just true. You just gotta refill your prescriptions. Maybe there's nothing nefarious happening here. Like, remember, you have bad allergies, so...
Oh, you're right, man. Thanks for that.
Remember to pick up your prescription shampoo. Next up was Rad. We are finally now to Rad.
Okay, now we're at Rad. Bad jokes. Not a bad game.
No, looks cool, actually. This is the post-apocalypse.
This was the first one that I took note, I feel like, of the post-apocalyptic nature.
Like, wait a minute. You control some boy-child man who, like, mutates throughout this thing.
I believe they pitched it that way. What if there's a boy-child man that mutates?
But, like, his head turned into a snake, his legs became, like, trees.
Oh yeah, well, and then when that happened, there's like this omniscient voice being like, mutation. Okay, I'm just gonna step outside of the conversation again for a minute.
Yes.
A lot of mutants in all these games.
Yes.
A lot of words that are mutant or mutate. All right.
And again, we were just at C2E2. We went to a panel.
It's definitely a trigger word. Where I'm like, why are we shooting these mutants?
Yeah.
They just want to coexist.
They do just want to coexist. In House of X and Powers of 10, coming in July.
All right, back in.
Yeah, and there was also like a part where this dude had like a tail or like an egg sack or something, and he like laid 3 little eggs behind him.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It was
weird.
weird.
Okay, there's a lot of weird in this game because you can transform into things, then you can lay eggs. Were those eggs that hatched into those spiders, you think?
I think so.
Or,
they
didn't show them
around.
hatch, but they showed
they were just there.
The next like scene or whatever was these spiders with the head of the man-boy child. Or man-child boy.
The point is, this game looks bonkers, right? And it's coming from Double Fine, and it will be out in summer of 2019. Next, we saw The Creature in the Well, which is the like pinball.
Right. So this one
action game.
This was the second one that used the word choreography, or at least another
apocalyptic game.
Yes. So it's kind of like pinball heavy, is what they're saying. Like that's the mechanics of the game.
I mean, it looks like you're a dude running around with like a sword or like a bat or something. Well, yeah, I don't know. You're a character. A woman, boy, child.
Binary. Non-binary.
Non-binary character. Swinging a bat or a sword or something around that is like you interact with the world in a pinball kind of way where like things are ricocheting off of surfaces and you're hitting bumpers and it's unclear to me if this is going to be a cool game.
Yeah, I really didn't have a good read on it. This was just one of the ones where I'm like judging the title and I'm like, is it really about the creature though? I know he's the one that made all this happen.
And he's like trapping. I took a note about. They say. No, I actually didn't take the note that I thought I took. The world beyond the sandstorm is what they mentioned.
Oh, right, there's a sandstorm.
There's a sandstorm, which makes me feel like it is a
music video.
It might be a music video. I was gonna say like a Mad Max style world.
Sure.
Where everything has just been obliterated and the world has become a desert.
Everything is not awesome.
No. Nothing is cool when you're part of a team.
You gotta see Lego Movie too, man.
I will.
It's great.
Next up was Blood Roots, which was like a man with a wolf on his head.
Oh yeah, I didn't like that name because I was like on board until that name because his name was Mr. Wolf.
Mr. Wolf, yeah, and they were being pretty goofy about it.
Yeah,
but then they also like it's a Western revenge tale.
Yes, and they were kind of like telling this serious revenge tale, and then he's like, and he has a wolf for a hat,
yeah.
So you know he means business.
Yeah, so like, what are we doing here? Are we goofing around, or are we talking about like a killer wolf man? Which is it?
Was this the one where you can basically interact with any item and use it to defeat your enemies?
Oh, I guess that's also like your friend Pedro too. Then they both sort of have that.
Yeah. But instead of like the whole like matrixy of that, this was like you can pick up a barrel and throw it at someone.
Yeah, this one seemed a little bit more. This is almost more Minecrafty, where it's like everything in the world can be used as a weapon. Like you just have to figure out how.
Yeah.
Then that's coming out this summer. Nope. Yes, I'm right. This summer. Then after that was Pine. Which did you read Autumn Lands, Tooth and Claw?
No, I never did.
It's like a fantasy world and it's populated by all these like animal human hybrids, which seems like what this game was. And it's they say that it's like a modern game in a fantasy setting, which doesn't tell you anything about what the game actually is.
Sure.
But it looked kind of pretty.
Pine,
This is the one where there are like elk people and
got it.
Yeah,
okay.
and then like a human being like appears when like they're fighting each other or something.
The moose people versus the crocodile people,
Yeah.
alligator people, and I was like, I feel like alligators don't need those weapons. They kind of already are the weapon.
Yeah, they got them jaws.
But seemed wordless, just like
interesting.
I guess most of these games are, but like just the way it was
not something like a Neocab.
True.
Neocab's nothing but words.
Right. Okay. But like, yeah, just the way, maybe just because we're like thinking of anthropomorphic animals, you're expecting them to talk. The boy didn't even talk either.
Yeah.
Which you're the boy, right? With the
I would assume
the arrow. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if it is like a like third person action adventure game, like kind of role playing game without language. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't see that kind of thing a lot. Whenever people want to tell stories in video games, they're like, we need to make them talk more. But that's not always the right.
Exposition bots.
You need exposition bots, or you don't. Then we moved on to Exposibots. To the Vlanbeer arcade stuff. So this is just a series of arcade games that are coming to Switch. Super Crate Box, Nuclear Throne, and Ultra Bugs. I don't really have too much to say about this, other than Ultra Bugs looked kind of stressful to me.
Yeah, that was the last one, right?
That was like the shooting one, yeah. Where
this was when I was thinking, like, how do they pitch these games without saying, it's like Metroid? Or, like,
it's like Gradius,
that's how you pitch it in like, the meeting, but how do you sell it to everybody else without mentioning the other game?
I think you just mentioned the other games. Like, there's enough history now.
Right.
That you just...
Well, they didn't, though. They did not.
No, that's true. I don't know that I really care about any of those. Let's move on to Swim Sanity.
Yeah, that was fun.
Swim Sanity is a multiplayer, like underwater shooter.
Okay, so I was telling you about, we went to this arcade, or a couple arcades. I feel like there's an arcade game of this. Because did they say that this is the second one, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I think I played this game before. Because it was like this underwater crazy thing.
Yeah.
With whales and stuff.
And there is like a big goofy looking whale in the trailer that we saw here.
Yeah.
It looks like fun. They're talking about several co-op modes and competitive modes and
message board stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, leaderboards and invite people to play with you and all the sort of normal online multiplayer stuff that you would see now.
Right.
But they did make a point of mentioning it, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is that a major function? Or connectivity's good, I guess.
Next up was Blaster Master Zero 2.
This was like Mega Man, right?
Yeah, so there was a game called Blaster Master on the original NES, which played.
Wait, is it Blaster Master or Master Blaster?
No, Blaster Master.
Oh, okay.
Master Blaster is the character from Mad Max again.
Okay.
Master Blaster Zero was like a Switch launch title, which was basically just them making a sequel to a 30-year-old NES game, and now this is a sequel to that.
Okay.
I picked up Blaster Master Zero when it originally came out because I was searching for things to play on my Switch, and it's okay. I didn't love it.
Yeah.
And I imagine that'll be my experience with the second one. I mean, I'm actually not going to pick up the second one, but it looks like more Master Blaster. Blaster Master? Master Blaster? Uh-oh. Delaney.
We're lost.
What's happening?
I'm lost.
Anyway, this game is out now. This is one where they mentioned mutant scum. Was that a trigger for you?
That was it. That was it for sure. Because they mentioned mutants before, but they're like blast through mutants or like.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so what are the recurring themes so far? They are the post-apocalypse,
mutants and mutating.
There was one more. Now I don't remember what it was.
They only said the Chosen One once.
Okay.
But, so that doesn't count.
Pretty good. The Chosen One is kind of a trope for games, and we weren't leaning on it here. Blaster Master Zero 2 is out now, and it's $10.
Thick lines.
Thick, cartoony lines.
There was another one that had thick lines.
Next up was Stranger Things 3, the game.
Gonna tell you something.
Yeah.
I've never watched Stranger Things.
Let me tell you something. I stopped in the middle of the first season of Stranger Things.
Nice.
Because I was like, I don't know if this has anything new to say. It looks like it's just borrowing stuff from E.T. and all those.
Correct.
Yep.
So.
I mean, I've been told that it gets much better and it does actually use the vocabulary to say something, but that's not what I've experienced with it.
You should see him. He doesn't believe what he's saying.
You're right. I'm shaking my head.
He's just one of those things like, you know what? Fine. You believe in God, I guess. Great.
Yeah, you're right. I've got no warm feelings for Stranger Things. I know everyone else does.
Yeah, let's talk about it in a concept then. So would this just be the season in video game form? Do you think this would be like a prologue or?
I mean, it says that it
comes out. It comes out at the same time.
Comes out at the same time, and they said that it is like the events of season 3.
That's weird. Well, no, that's not. They do it for movies, but for like a season of a television.
Television. I mean, there was that Lost game.
It was called
Via Domus.
I never played it, but I saw it.
And I mean, that thing was a mess.
Well, yeah. And there's, the classic side scrollers for like Star Wars where they added a lot of different bosses that never show up in the movies.
Just big versions of other characters. Or like, shoot, I had one. Oh, and Enter the Matrix. Did you ever play Enter the Matrix?
I did not. But
that game was okay.
I hear that. Yeah, my cousin replayed it like a couple years ago. I remember because he was watching the movies and he dove back into that. And I was like,
yeah, why not?
All right, J-Lo.
I mean, the Matrix lends itself well to video gaming, right? Because it's like just like your friend Pedro, that slow motion, like stylish action.
I forgot that was the name. I thought it was my friend Pedro. Like that's the name, but it's your friend Pedro. You were referring to it as I loved. Like, oh, you loved that game.
You loved that game so much you called it your friend, which is weird. But yeah, I mean, this looks to me like a little bit of a disposable experience.
Sure.
It's like an overhead view, isometric, where you're playing two characters together, just like running around the maps, beating people up. And
could probably be on your phone or on Facebook.
Boy, I bet it could be on your phone or on Facebook or on your phone on Facebook. And then the last thing they mentioned before getting to like the final announcement was that there are so many indie games on Switch, and a bunch of them are on sale. So look into that if you're interested in getting any old indie games.
There it is. Look at that. Again, doesn't believe what he said.
I don't believe what I'm saying.
If you're into that thing, kind of thing, I guess.
No, there are a lot of good indie games, and if you want to spend less money than you normally would, you can do it. And then last up was Cadence of Hyrule, Crypt of the Necrodancer.
I'm going to tell you something else.
Tell me something else.
I've never really played the Zelda games.
What?
All right, that's what I thought was going to happen with Stranger,
Stranger
Things, but it waited until now.
Here's the thing. Live your life. Take in the media you want to take in.
Mm-hmm.
The Zelda games are great.
I know. Everybody tells me that. Well, also, before I knew it was Zelda, the first thought I had when I saw the gameplay of this was like, I can't play this game. This hopping, walking thing is not for me.
So Crypt of the Necrodancer is, it's on like a grid, and like when you move, you hop.
I mean, I'm okay with that because like Pokemon was like that, but the hopping.
Well, the thing is, it all happens in time to the music. So like, in addition to being like a game where you're sort of like controlling space and attacking, you're doing it in time. So it's a rhythm game in addition to being like an action adventure game. So if you mess up the rhythm and like miss an opportunity to attack or move, then like your combo goes down or whatever.
So like a Mario Party game.
It's a little bit like a Mario Party game. One of those Mario Party games that you're like, no. But then this one has Zelda characters in it. Which
so yeah, was this not a Zelda character? Cadence? Isn't that what her name was?
Well, I don't know. I don't know who the main character is in these games.
I thought the name was Cadence.
Cadence. I mean, Cadence of Hyrule is the. I wonder. Yeah, that could be the character's name. Cadence of Hyrule.
Looked at me like I was dumb.
I mean. Oh no! Can you always tell when I'm looking at you like you're dumb? Oh no! But Link and Zelda are in this game. A lot of Zelda villains are also in this game. It's got that like cartoony art style. We're back to those thick lines again.
Yeah.
And you know, since it is rhythm based, that means there's going to be a lot of Zelda music in this as well. Which
that was the tease.
Yeah.
With that dumb, you know, the people trying to pitch it.
Yeah.
You know, the Switch people.
Right.
What's that music?
Where's it coming from?
And I was like,
do you hear something?
And as me not being Zelda, like I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I don't think it was recognizably Zelda at that point.
Gray was like, you tell me. I feel like you're about to tell me anyways.
I mean, let's be honest, that's why we're here, so you can tell me things. You don't need to tease the fact that you're going to tell me something.
What if they just said, well, it probably was the wind. And then it ends.
Thank you for watching this Nintendo Direct.
Pitch. Horror movie.
Yeah.
Called The Wind. Because it's always just the wind.
It's always just the wind.
But this time, it is just the wind. But the wind
will
is coming
kill you.
to kill you.
That's good. That's scary.
That's got legs. Wind legs.
Isn't that like The Mist or the...
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't see any of those.
I'm not really into horror movies.
Yeah.
I think what's notable about this one is that it is an indie game, an independently developed game that Nintendo is letting them use.
That was
characters.
What
and
I
stuff.
didn't really. I was confused by that. I was like, well, wait, are they just shoehorning in a Zelda game at the end here? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it is,
but it's still an indie game.
It's still an indie game, and Crypt of the Necrodancer, just on its own, is a game that already exists and has already existed.
Necrodancer.
Necrodancer.
For real?
Yeah, because it's rhythm based.
So, can control dead dancing people?
I think it's just dead dancing, right?
Probably.
Star of Cheers, dead dancing.
Yeah.
The way the word breaks out, necro. Again, those sirens are over here. Don't pull over if you're driving your car.
I mean, do whatever you want.
Well,
live your life. Play the games you want to play.
Of course, put Zelda in all the games you want to play. I think this game looks cool.
You know, it's fine.
All right, cool. Delaney, we've done it. We've gone through all of these things. I think everyone is now better informed
Definitely.
as to what all of these games are. Do you think you will play any of these games?
I feel like I am curious about my friend Pedro.
No, it's your friend Pedro.
I know. He's my friend. That was just, that stood out for me.
Yeah.
Just because of the silly name and the banana, but also the mechanics of it seemed unusual.
Yeah,
and I really hope that there's a Tony Hawk point style system.
Look, if I can unlock Darth Maul in this game, I'll be so happy.
Oh God!
I'm interested in Cuphead. Is a game that I would like to, especially on the go. If that game is anchored to your TV, that's a pain in the butt. But if you can take it with you and get frustrated by it on the plane, yeah, boy.
Definitely.
Also Neocab.
Let me say something real quick.
Please.
I kind of sometimes forget that the Switch is the Switch.
Yeah.
So when I'm thinking of playing these, I'm just on my couch. Oh yeah, these would be good on-the-go games.
Right. Yeah, a lot of these games.
That's a big appeal.
Right. Yeah, you can play it as you're going somewhere.
Neocab definitely makes me curious. And like, if it is just a depressing game, that's kind of funny for me.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We live in like a nightmare world in a nightmare time, right? And sometimes you just wanna like bask in that, wanna sulk in it.
I mean,
just be a sad sack for a while,
and then you can listen. I wonder if how deep it goes. Like, do your customers have very strange, interesting stories about themselves?
Possibly.
Or are they just like NPCs sitting in the back?
Right. They might just be NPCs in the back telling you the name of the town that you're in.
And where your friend might be.
Right. The whole game is just, your friend might be here. You go there. Your friend might be here.
You keep picking up the person who kidnapped her and dropping them off. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe check there. I'm gone.
All right, Michael, is there anything at this point that you would like to plug? You don't have to if you don't want to.
No, I just made a dumb joke about how I was going to plug Heinz ketchup.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why I'm laughing. No, I'm good for right now.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff on Apple Podcasts. If you like the episode, please share it on Facebook or Twitter, or wherever you share stuff. That always helps us out, and we like it a lot. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Michael is at Cormac. That's Cormac, Michael. And Mark is at MKE Mitchell. And the show is just at Nincart Society. You can check out the Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mike DeLaney, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.
Campfire.